What's going on, profiteers? Hope all is well. Another episode of Convos with your CFP, Mario Payne in beautiful Florida. And let's just get to it. The debt ceiling is approaching, and politicians are doing what politicians do, kicking the can down the road. Now, we need politicians. I know people are anti-politicians. They have a job. It's a very tough job. Have a few clients that are politicians or have been politicians in the past. It's a tough job. However, though, when it comes to the debt ceiling, gotta be some compromise, y'all. We can't let the market go down because of the debt ceiling that you're gonna eventually raise anyways. So what is the debt ceiling? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about why it's important to get it raised and what we can do as investors to take advantage of this craziness that's going on when it comes to Congress and the Senate and the White House. So what is the debt limit? Let's look here. The debt limit is the total amount of money that the United States government is authorized to borrow to meet its existing legal obligations, including Social Security, Medicare benefits, military salaries, interest on the national debt, tax refunds, and other payments. So basically, it's money that we already spent, but we got to pay. It's like getting a credit card. We already went to Foot Locker, spent $200 on those pair of J's. J's are probably about $300 now. So we spent $300 on some Jordans, put on the credit card. So now with 10% interest, it ain't $300 anymore. It's $330. How are we going to pay for it? Well, now Congress has to step in and say, hey, we raised the debt limit. So the president goes to Congress. Congress says yes. So even though those J's was $300, because of interest, we got to spend $330 to pay it off. But you need permission. So basically, it's money that's already been spent, already been allocated, but now we need to pay it off. Pretty easy.
Politics. The debt limit isn't in the Constitution. Congress created it themselves, and from their point of view, the debt limit is awesome because 1, it creates a problem that 2, Congress can technically blame on the president, who 3, needs the solution that only they can provide. Congress gets to use the threat of mutual financial self-destruction as leverage in negotiations that they benefit from extending until the last possible second.
So there you have it. That is the debt limit, and politicians are playing politics. Now, it's a lot of threats. Hey, we will not raise the debt ceiling. It is what it is. Let's balance the budget first. It really has nothing to do with the budget. Again, people are playing politics. But at the end of the day, I always tell clients when I have this question, politicians have one job and one job only, and that's to get reelected. Yes, they campaign. Yes, they care about their constituents. Yes, they want to do the right thing. At the end of the day, especially for a congressman or congresswoman, and also a senator, senators gets elected every 6 years, Congress every 2 years. Their main job is to get reelected. You think if they're going to stop Social Security, stop Medicare payments from going out, they're going to get reelected? Of course not. Of course not. So they will speak the talk, walk the walk, but then they will raise the debt limit. Let's see here examples of how many times that debt ceiling has actually been increased. Congress has always acted when called upon to raise the debt limit. Since 1980, Congress has acted 78 separate times to permanently raise, temporarily extend, or revise the definition of the debt limit. 49 times under Republican presidents and 29 times under Democrat presidents. Congress leaders in both parties have recognized that this is a necessity. And this is from the USTreasury.gov. So yes, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, Republican, Democrat, Independent, you're going to raise that debt ceiling because your number one job is to get reelected. So it's a lot of talk about they're not going to do it. They're going to stand firm, put it with another spending bill. At the end of the day, it's going to get raised. It was a time that somebody did call somebody's bluff. And let's look what happened from an investment standpoint. So the closest the United States has ever come to defaulting was in the summer of 2011. Summertime. Markets were roiled As uncertainty about the Congress would raise the ceiling continued through the summertime. The S&P 500 fell by more than 16% in over 5 weeks from July into early August. 16%? 100 grand in the S&P is now 84,000. Oh, that's not a good summer at all. Man, that's not the summertime that we like, is it? Of course not. Standard & Poor's downgraded the U.S. credit rating for the first time ever. So not only was people's investments going down, but now the S&P downgraded the U.S. as an investment vehicle. Means outside money can't pour into the U.S. Not good financially. Again, politicians' number one goal is to be reelected. That hurts everybody, and they're looking at the politicians in 2011. Hence what happened in 2012, right? When the House changed. Senate changed. President got reelected. They downgraded the U.S. credit rating for the first time ever. So again, they called a bluff, and that bluff was a bad call. So Congress eventually reached a compromise in early 2011, raising the debt limit just days before the country would have defaulted. So they walked up to that edge, but at the end of the day, look what happened. They raised the debt limit. Now, it was some painful, not profits, painful losses, because a lot of those politicians that said no at first did not get reelected in 2012. Again, the House changed, the Senate changed. The president got reelected when some people thought he would not get reelected. So it just goes to show a politician's job, one job, is to be reelected. And a lot of those politicians from 2011 are in Washington right now. And they remember. So they're going to talk the talk, but at the end of the day, they are not going to walk that walk. But let's see what happened to the market, though. 7/17/2021, right? August. And the market went down. It went from 1,345 on the S&P all the way to 1,100, 16%. It did go back up, but it did not go up till January of 2012. So that's 6 months of foolishness. Person invested their money in July, did not even break even until 6 months later. A lot of unhappy individuals. Now, people who invested at the bottom back in October or November 2011, they made about 25%. If something's down by 16, when it goes back up, you make 25%. So they're happy, right? 3-4 months, I make a 25% gain. Heck, I could sell and get out the market for about 3 years. Market averages 8% a year. I made 25% in 3 months. I'm relaxing, maxing, chilling. My end of summer was pretty cool. But it goes to show, politicians do not want this to happen. So we're going to see a lot of things on the news, on the Republican side and on the Democratic side. They're going to fight, fuss, fight. At the end of the day, they're going to raise the debt ceiling. They are not going to go into a situation, especially as the economy right now is wavering anyways, they're going to raise the debt ceiling. So as investors, do not panic. Do not panic sell investments thinking that they will let our money in government default. It's not going to happen. Now, as we get closer, if they do sidestep and let this thing start to teeter, you might want to think about buying because the market may go down. If we have money on the side, might not want to invest today. Let's see what's going to happen in the days and weeks to come. If the market starts to teeter because of the uncertainty that we know for certain will happen with them raising the debt ceiling, then you might want to invest. The market goes down by 3, 4, 5%, let's say. Buy that 5% down. When it goes back up, you made 7%. That's pretty good. It's going to go back up, and they are going to raise the debt ceiling. We're going to hear a lot of craziness over the days and the weeks about the debt ceiling. But even we have craziness going on here, this is still the number one destination for investors worldwide. Let's look at this. Nearly half of all U.S. foreign-owned debt comes from 5 countries. Japan, China. People think China has most of our debt. It's actually Japan, believe it or not. $1.1 trillion in 2023. China at $800 billion. The UK at almost $700 billion. And Belgium and Luxembourg. Man, what Luxembourg got going on? I ain't never been to Luxembourg. Been to China. Been to the UK. went through Belgium, not Luxembourg though. Why? What's going on in Luxembourg? We need to do some fact checking on that Luxembourg. But I say that to say, individuals will continue to pour money into the U.S. because of all the craziness with politics. We still are the greatest nation on God's green planet. Congress people are going to say what they say, but they're going to do what they do. And that means they're going to raise the debt ceiling. We're the greatest country in the world. As you can see, people still invest in America even after we go through our craziness. And if the market does start to teeter because politicians are beefing and going back and forth, that's the time to buy, not to sell, because they will increase the debt ceiling. And when it happens, the market will recover. As always, like, subscribe, share our channel, Paying for Profits. We're here to help. Again, 16 years in the industry, 11. Wow, time flies. We're having fun, man. 11 years as a CFP with his own ETF on the market, LetB, LETB, and our own investment at LetBob. Doing something right. But comment below what y'all think. They calling bluff. They're going to let the debt ceiling not get raised. Am I wrong? Who knows? As always, though, let's make some Paying for Profits together, y'all. Peace.
Tired of making the money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late. Yeah, pay for profits to help you seek change. And you just wanna get paid. Yeah, tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late. Pay for profits to help you seek change. Yeah, cut the show and just listen. You wanna feel empowered by making money decisions. Residual by the hours can get you a better living. Bitch at the check, you know, and it could be different. You know.